Hello viewers, this is Pratiksha here with another video. As you all know, AI, ML and DL are booming topics today. Do you know what exactly are they? Come, let's learn what deep learning is. You can watch our previous videos on AI and ML anytime. I'll include the link for the same down below in the description box. What is deep learning? Deep learning is a subfield of machine learning concerned with algorithms inspired by the structure and function of the brain called artificial neural networks. Just as a human brain has thousands of biological neurons connected to each other, a neural network also has thousands of artificial neurons connected to each other, thereby giving machines human-like intelligence. How are the terms AI, ML, and DL related to each other? Deep learning is part of a broader family of machine learning algorithms, which in turn is a part of another broader category called artificial intelligence. All of these work collaboratively to mimic human behavior. Deep learning functions with three layers, namely the input layer, which takes the inputs, one or more hidden layers that perform the computation, and an output layer which gives us the computed result. These three layers form the neural network for n number of neurons, as each layer has its own number of neurons. The three layers just discussed carry their own weights from one layer to another, and the result of the entire neural network is determined by the activation function that is applied to the data to standardize the output of the neuron. The figure here perfectly shows all similarities between a biological human neuron and an artificial machine neuron. Let's first understand how a single neuron works. Suppose you are given a task of predicting whether a person is at risk for disease X. Assuming the person is not obese, smokes and exercises daily, the input vector will hold 0 for not obese, 1 for both smoking and exercising daily. As obesity and smoking can cause risk and exercising can't, the weights positive and negative are assigned respectively. Using the sigmoid function, which will be discussed in the next slide, we calculate the total risk as 42.6%, and since it is less than 50, the machine predicts that the person is not at risk. The sigmoid function is used to classify binary data, 0 for no and 1 for yes. Consider the task of finding out the number of boys and girls in a classroom. We can use the sigmoid function to classify every student either as a girl or a boy. Sigmoid is used when we have just two bins to put values into. But what happens when we have more than two bins? How do you classify? You can do so by using the softmax function, which can handle k classes simultaneously. Take an example of Facebook. They would want to classify various images into their respective bins to understand a particular user's feed and then show him or her ads based on what they view or like the most. The classification categories might be car, environment, bike, flowers, etc. So they might need to know whether a picture contains a car or not, a bike or something else, and if the picture is taken in the day or night based on the environment it was captured in. The main working principle of a neural network is backpropagation, where if the output does not match the desired one, the network backtracks to its previous layers and recalculates the weights and gives us the desired output. What is a feed-forward neural network? A neural network that is suitable for supervised learning, where we already know what is the output using labeled data. As the flow of computation never reverses, that is, the network does not backtrack to the previous layers, it is called a feed-forward neural network, as you can see in the figure. This is how one can build an entire feed-forward neural network using NumPy in Python. After importing libraries, creating Gaussian clouds, and scatterplot for visualization, we define the sigmoid function and the feedforward function. And then we calculate the classification rate by defining a separate function taking two parameters, y, that is the target, and p, that is the prediction. We get the classification rate for 3 Gaussian clouds for the randomly chosen weights to be as 33.33%. The remaining will be covered by my friend Arpita. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Arpita Telkar back with another video today. In this video, we'll be learning about what deep learning is all about. Well, deep learning is a machine learning technique. It teaches computers to do more human-like things. That is, to teach a computer to act or think in a more human way fashion. Deep learning can be a powerful engine for producing actionable results. It can be applied on big data for knowledge-based predictions. Well, let's get into the topic now. The contents covered in this topic are types of problems, TensorFlow, its use cases, example with code, face recognition tool, and another example for that. So yeah, let's get started. First one are the problem session. There are basically two types of problems. First one is the donut problem. Second is the XOR problem. In the donut problem, it is a donut shaped. I guess everybody has enjoyed eating donut. Don't worry, this problem is as easy to understand as it is to eat. In the donut problem, basically there are two sets of classes, that is having two donuts with two different radius. It is obviously a circle. Donuts are usually in a circle shape, therefore it cannot be a line. So solving such problems is done by neural networks. Whereas in the XOR problem, there is no one line that separates two classes, as you can see in the display. And such problems can be solved using linear regression. XOR problem can be solved based on the XOR table, where here in the table x1 and the x2 are the inputs, where y is the output. Y turns 1 when either of x1 or x2 is 1. Well, donut and XOR problem both are binary classification problems. We'll move on to the TensorFlow. What is TensorFlow? Well, don't worry, it is not that difficult. TensorFlow is a Python library for fast numerical computing. It is basically created and released by Google. It is an open source artificial intelligence library using data flow graphs to build models. It allows developers to create large-scale neural networks with many layers. Well, let's get into the use cases of TensorFlow. There are several of use cases. I have just picked out few of them. First one is the speech recognition. TensorFlow allows you to build neural network models to recognize spoken words. Self-driving cars are also based on the voice recognition. It enables cars to recognize speaker emotion and spoken words. With this capability, self-driving cars can know when the users are frustrated and quickly respond appropriately. Well, there are many other use cases like detection of flaws, image recognition, sentiment analysis, text summarization. Sentiment analysis and text summarization will be taught in the coming session. We'll move on to the code now. In this code, as you can see, the topmost line says import TensorFlow as TF. This is the most important line, as you have to import a TensorFlow library to this program. Then in the initwaits function, where shape is taken as the input, it returns the tf variable, which in turn takes a random normal with the input shape and the standard deviation set to 0.01. Whereas in the forward function, we call a sigmoid function, which takes a mat multiplication. Well, there are many other functions from the TensorFlow. You can go through it. Any doubts, you can come to us, or you can comment in the comment section below. Now we'll move on to the facial expression recognition. Well, as the topic name itself says, it is a recognition of the facial expression. Basically, it is a task of classifying the expression on face images into various categories like sad, happy, fear, etc. Well, the data which are taken in the face recognition tool is basically the images. These images are to be in a 48x48 grayscale. The images include the face which are to be centered and approximately the same size. There are 7 different classes, each identifying the type of the expression, that is anger, disgust, fear, happy, sad, surprise, neutral. There are 3 CSV columns, namely labels, pixels, which are space separated, and train or the test. Well, in this code, as you can see, we have imported NumPy and matplotlib, and here you import a function called getData from the util. Usually this data is used to hold, this function is used to hold the data and pre-process it. Then in the next line, we have label map, which takes the input. This map takes the input like anger, disgust, and all such things, which we have discussed in the previous slide. In the main function, the first line, we have called the getData function, which just takes the data. And then we have the loop, which is infinite. As the loop is infinite, in the end of the loop, we have a prompt which takes the input, which takes the raw input, that is quit. If you want to quit, enter Y. When pressed Y, it comes out. So it comes out of the loop. Inside the loop, there is another loop for each of the 7 emotions in the for loop. Then in the next point, we have to choose all the data points that are equal to the emotions. Then the number of data points equal to the emotions. Then we just randomly select a data point in the j is equal to npy.random choice of n. We randomly select a data point and plot that data point. In the next line, plot plt.imshow. Before plotting, it reshapes the size of the image in 48x48 and sets the color map to the gray. Then plots the title of the image and then the prompt. Try to execute this code and let me know what is the output. Yeah, that's all in this session. Here is a quick summary. In this session, we have learned regarding the donut problem, XOR problem, TensorFlow, its use cases, and facial expression tool. Thank you. That's all in the session. If you like this video, please don't forget to give a thumbs up and please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.